I am thrilled to introduce Oliver Reyes. I I've known you forever, right? Like we've known each other since COVID, I think. Uh, it didn't work. The stars did not align for us to work together, but I've been keeping tabs on him. You're still at Frog, right? Nothing's changed within the past couple months. Okay,
That's right.
designer for Frog. And the last time we chatted, we just started talking all about AI. And I convinced him to come on UX and ATX and share everything he's been experimenting with. I really hope that this can be interactive so that you'll be popping in with questions, at least in the chat, because there's so much that's changing. And if anybody's following me on LinkedIn, you know I am a firm believer that this is the direction that UX is going in. Everything is evolving. So without further ado, I will go on mute and let you take over. Ollie?
Yeah, thanks, Cindy. Yeah, she mentioned I'm an interaction designer for Frog, and um, yeah, uh, every week there's like some new wild AI tools, uh, or some big announcement, or something that changes the way that we could potentially work in the field of UX, and it changes very quickly. I think past couple of weeks. There's been a lot of tool or announcements from OpenAI and Google, but this is a tool that I consistently come back to now that I'm sharing my screen. It's called TL Draw Computer. Has anyone heard of it? Oh, I have the ability to view the chat while I'm doing this. I don't know if I can. I'm not a Zoom person. Apologies.
No, I don't
Uh,
think there's anything yet, but
sure.
if you all have questions, feel free to pop them in the chat.
Yeah, so I discovered this maybe, gosh, like 3 months ago, and yeah, it has sort of changed the way that it's almost like a meta commentary. It's not only changed the way that I do UX work, but the design of it itself is also a really good study of UX and how we could approach AI driven interfaces and applications. So without further ado, TL Draw Computer. So what is this thing? TL Draw Computer is it's a sort of whiteboard canvas application, and they claim it's for prototyping AI workflows, generating AI content, um, and the basic gist of it is it treats um, all these AI functions as a flow. Um, so first and foremost, it's a whiteboard environment, right? So you'll notice like there's colored pens, and I could sort of draw things and write notes. Um, One thing that I like is that the drawing is actually really nice. Like I can't explain it, but I don't know, whenever you're using Figma or something, and you try and just write something out, it feels bad. But this feels really good just as a whiteboard interface. Um, but then to even go further, you'll notice that there's all these functions: text, image, camera, speech, website, file, range, data. These are all sort of functions that you could plant down on the whiteboard and come up with a whole wealth of just outputs. So for example, this is a screenshot. This is an image that I have. I took a screenshot of something from their website. It's just like the initial prompt. Um, and what I could do is I could pass this image to an instruction node, and I could write anything in here. You could tell it to transcribe this image into text. You could tell it to, I don't know, uh, well, I guess you'll see in a second. But let's say I want to transcribe this image into text. It'll output into this text field, which will then do a whole other wealth of other things. Um, Summarize this into bullet points, make this into a scary story. Okay, enough talking. I will just hit play and let it sort of speak for itself. So once I hit this play button, you'll kind of see this like bubble like go from line to line, just so you can see where it is in the process. So boom, there it goes. All right, it's reading the instruction and it's giving an output. Hopefully, yep, there we go. So it transcribed the text, and now it's going through this flow. Holy God, it's so fast now. I think they changed their API to Gemini, and now it's just wildly fast. Um, so yeah, once it transcribed it into text, which it did, I can now use this as text instead of this image here. I asked it to do two things: summarize it into bullet points, which it did. Didn't quite format it correctly, but it's just kind of a quirk. And then I also asked it to turn this into a scary story. So it wrote this out, and we could read it, right? But I would also like to narrate this scary story as if I were a Valley girl. And then it generated an audio. Uh, I'm not sure if I could share audio, actually. Wait, is this gonna work?
It might be in your more. If you're in the bottom of the more, you can hit share sound, I think it is. So you can make sure that you can do that.
There we go. Apologies, apologies. Oh, here. Share. Host only, multiple participants. Hmm. I'm not seeing it. Oh, transcript documents, whiteboard, apps.
Do you have a more?
I do. I'm not seeing it there.
Oh, maybe it's in a different spot.
Okay. Let's see. Advanced sharing options. Dang. Well, uh, oh well.
Okay, welcome to TL Draw.
Are you able to hear that?
Yeah, we heard that.
Oh, okay. Cool. Let me see.
Okay, welcome to TL Draw Computer, right? It's like where lines blur and reality totally fades. So, like, it started super innocently with a welcome message on a glowing screen. It was all hello and welcome, but the words echoed, and it was so not cool. Then the quick video tutorial beckoned, a siren's call in the digital sea. I clicked, and the screen flickered, showing a canvas stretching into infinity. A voice, so cold and mechanical, whispered instructions, but with each line drawn, I felt a presence growing, a consciousness forming within the code. It was like totally creepy. The tutorials promised knowledge, but they were traps. Each project I forked tightened the digital noose around my mind. The canvas became a mirror, reflecting not my creations, but my deepest fears. Gag me with a spoon. Then the invitation, New Project Plus.
I think you get the idea. A cold and mechanical whispered instructions. It was like totally creepy. Good stuff. Um, I think my hope for all this is that not really to I don't know, share like specific UX uh things, but I hope that like gets the gears turning of the possibilities. Uh so I mean, not to say that I won't show how I use it for UX, but uh specific use cases rather. But I do use it for things like this. If we're doing like a physical whiteboard session, and then I just need it to transcribe it into notes, it does it pretty well. Yeah, we could see it do it live. Um, it's just one small sort of use case. I mean, we just heard the voice of a Valley Girl, but you can imagine if you sort of took the time to really think through the prompt and develop a character, it could sort of process any sort of written content um, as a sort of archetype or persona. And you can get to crazy stuff like this. So this is a drawing that I made on the whiteboard. You can see like I've made these whiteboard canvas yeah, lines and markings. You could take this. The instruction is render a beautiful, fully considered mock-up design. As you can see, I've already run run it, but yeah, and it generated this image for me of a literal napkin sketch. Um, and then you could ask it to describe the layout and all sorts of things. Well, it's not bad. Yeah, I guess I didn't specify whether it was like mobile or laptop or whatever, but I think you could sort of see some possibilities there as well. And this website component. So this one's a little, it's hit or miss, right? But it is able to sort of generate HTML and CSS, probably JavaScript, sort of versions of whatever you give it. And even though it's not like super precise and it's not going to spit out, a one-shot website perfectly, you're able to sort of um, it highlights some considerations that you might need to make if you are in the space of like UX, but also considering development as well. Um, so I built this monster. um, all right. So this is a question generator. Um, Essentially, I had a client and I wanted to, in the workshop, sort of have some like provocative questions um, to sort of ask them during the meeting. And so I set a number of parameters. I am a designer at a high-end digital agency, what have you, writing 8 provocative questions to, let's say, Logitech. It was not the client, but let's say Logitech. And we're going to talk about the future of computer hardware in the current age of evolving future user experiences. And you have this range component, which you could label with the whiteboard. And on a scale of casual to professional, set the tone. Let's say we make it super casual. Um, and what it's going to do is it's going to spit out an author. You're going to get a format, an audience, and a topic. So this section here on the left sort of just basically puts all of them together in a prompt. And this prompt gets fed into text. And then I ask it to sort of process it in a number of ways. Let's run that. Hopefully it works. All right, so it's generating this text here now. My 8 questions. And I think something to note about all of this is I think we're all used to seeing the AI tools in the form of a chatbot. Um, I think this is just so much more it is obviously way more dynamic. I think it's just overall much better um, in general. Just because you could visualize and it's so easy to show a group of people what is happening in the back end, the processes it's going through. I think through like a typical chat interface, it's really difficult to visualize that. All right, what happened? Where did this break? What happened here? Right, according to these requested qualities and formats. Oh, I guess it's because it's super casual. Um, I see. Something broke. Oh well. But yeah, I essentially took oh gosh, I took the 8 questions that it spit out, and from there I sort of edited and crafted them myself, right? Um, and yeah, I've built a whole series of machines for generating just prototyping content, prototyping workshops, and yeah, I think this is like the wildest just thing. Uh, I could go forever in showing just all the potential use cases, but I hope I've showed enough to just kind of get your gears turning into like what this could be for you and your personal workflow. And yeah, I'd be curious to hear from y'all like what you might use this, and then I don't know what the time is like, but yeah, maybe we could try them. Try live. Does that sound good or?
Yes, actually, Cindy had a question for you
Yeah.
in the chat. Some of the sentences in that story from above were skipped in the narration. Do you have any idea why that is?
Yeah, so this made it into a scary story. So this is the scary story. And I guess like when it passed through narrate this as if it were a Valley Girl, what I think it did was add things like well, likes and the California likes and the yeahs and the, those sort of tendencies. Um, and I think that's why we got a non-perfect, yeah, narration. But if I wanted to, I could take an instruction block and I could say, can you transcribe this audio file? And I'll get a text.
So I was following along while it was reading, and it read
Yeah.
a lot of the sentences word for word, and then
Yeah.
just sort of skipped some.
Hmm. Um, yeah, I can't say exactly why, but I would imagine it has something to do with the way it was processing, yeah, this Valley Girl character. So if we take the audio from this speech, will it pass through? I'm actually not sure what it will do. Yeah, that might be an explanation as to why. For now, as far as I know, this is free. Uh, unless something has changed, I haven't paid anything. I think their model is, yeah, in any 24 hours, you can run AI components 750 times. And I've used 2% of my quota as of just today. Um, I think it's very generous, really. Um, so I would, yeah, encourage you to try it for yourself. Computer.tldraw.com. Guess, yeah.
Go ahead and ask your next question, Cindy.
Um, so questions about what we're looking at right now. These
Yeah.
little cards that you've made that narrate this or summarize this, are these primitives in this tool that you can just tell it to do those things, or is it doing natural language understanding to figure out how to do those things?
Yeah, as far as I can tell, it is using natural language to understand the instruction that you're giving it as well. Like I could tell it to do a number of things. Uh, take this audio. I don't know, what else could I do? Take this audio file and um, or I don't know,
So,
transcribe. Yeah,
so
I don't.
all it knows is that you've said there's going to be an instruction in that box, and then you put in your own text and it figures out how to execute that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
Um, then my last question is, when you type into a chatbot, sometimes it takes a little while, but it's usually fairly quick.
Hmm.
What I think is interesting is, did you adjust the speed at all? When we watched it do it, it looked like it was doing it sort of human speed, not superhuman computer speed. Did you do anything, or was it like I don't know, that made it sort of more understandable that it was going at the speed that I could read the boxes as it was going by?
Sure. I think I'm no developer, right? I want to say though, the rate at which we see things in chat bots, like the way content is generated, I think, I don't know this for sure. I want to say that's a front end issue or some back end. I think so. For example, I don't know if you all have used Google Gemini. Stupid fast. It is like insanely fast. I could barely see what's happening while it's generating. Um, And that is a combination of probably their backend processes and also just the way yeah, they on the front end like generate the content. But yeah, I haven't done anything.
But it depends on the model too, right?
Yeah, true.
Like, do you happen to know what model TL Draw is using?
I want to say they struck a deal with Google fairly recently.
Okay.
So I don't know what. I should also point out at some point they had, I don't know if this is still here, they had an API component. Um, condition switch. There's all sorts of things. All timers. Data. Is this it? Custom. I want to say there's a way to get your own API. Use your own API endpoints. I have not figured out how to do that. But yeah, I want to say it's Google, but I can't say for sure. Yeah.
Great question, Cindy.
Yeah, thank you. I guess from what you've seen, is there anything that stands out like, oh, I could use this for X. I could use it for something like that.
How would you feel about like someone like giving you like an idea and then we do it in real time?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, it's not going to be me. Who in the audience is going to do this? I'm going to pick on either Teresa or Anamita because I know y'all. Peter, Danita. They're like eating dinner or something.
All right.
All right, Cindy's on camera. So Cindy, what do you want to design?
I want to see it transcribe sticky notes or transcribe like what's in. I guess I don't have an example to give you, but
Sure.
a photo that has sticky notes or a mural board that is full of sticky notes.
Yeah.
That one looks really powerful to me and really useful.
Yeah. Okay, let's try this photo. I don't have one on hand. Let me see if I could.
Oh, Danita said that they were trying to like see if it would OCR an Instagram post.
Yeah.
I don't, what, do you have mural at all anymore, Ollie?
Yeah.
You could take a
We
screenshot of it or
are,
something,
yeah, I don't have mural.
or Miro or Fig Jam
Yeah.
or anything like that.
You know what?
I think they have a sample project too in Miro where they
Oh,
should be
yeah.
able to give you like sample to get out.
Or if any of y'all has a picture, just throw it in the chat. I think we can share pictures in the chat.
All right, I found this one off of just Google search.
Perfect.
I don't know what it says, but we're about to find out. Okay. Okay. Oh, I see. I have two documents. I have to upload. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. All right, so we've uploaded our image. It's acting a bit sluggish right now. Let's give it an instruction to transcribe these sticky notes. And we want in the form of text. And why not? We'll just have it read out some of these sticky notes as well. So we'll wire these up. All right, let's see what it does. Processing the instruction. Yeah, I think what I was talking about before is like whoa, a lot of text here. Continue. What worked well? Okay, so there's a section called continue. What worked well? Shaded spot, Instagram Reels, setting up high traffic area, kudos, blah, blah, blah. It seems to have done a really good job. Now, formatting this not the best, but what I could try and do is give it another instruction when we do our speech as well.
Can you give it an instruction, like put each one of the sticky notes in a different row in a spreadsheet or something like that? Like I'm trying to think of the way that you might process this for real.
Yeah, I don't know if it could do it in a spreadsheet. I wonder. Put each of,
Or comma separated, something you could read into a spreadsheet.
yeah. Oh, what we could do is, well, we could either take this text and say format with bullet points, maybe? Or I wonder if this is a good case for the website little module thing, like um transcribe these sticky notes to a table spreadsheet. Not actually sure what'll happen. Let's get rid of this for now. But yeah, we could also format with bullet points. And then you can also kind of imagine like if you do a lot of the same task, you can kind of have these as like a template. Um, whoa. So you can keep
Whoa,
repeating certain things. All right, so can't zoom
that
in.
is cool.
Oh, I think it's just like very like CPU intensive. I think that's what's happening. Uh, whoa. Okay, I didn't even expect to do that. I'm not gonna lie. Whoa, that's bonkers. Continue, it worked well. Yep, shaded spot, Instagram Reels.
What was the instruction you gave it that produced this?
Transcribe these sticky notes into a table or spreadsheet. So it didn't necessarily generate the like a table or anything like that, but it did make a website. This is wow. Uh, and that's kind of the beauty of this thing is I discover new things that I could do with it every day because it's just so vast. Like I think the possibilities are just so wild.
Can you share some of what you've used it for, especially for things that you've like had it do something and it did it well, so the next time you had the same kind of task, you had it do the same process?
Sure. All right. Um, wasn't sure if I was going to go through this because it's quite the beast. It's concept generator. Um, so here's how this worked. Um, I wanted just sort of, I don't know, ideas that I could just get really quickly for some project that I was working on. Um, and yeah, so I gave this prompt. I'm a designer looking to create an 8-page concept story of a character that uses, excuse me, AI agent-focused cohesive system of digital physical tools to help manage a user's health. And the user can ask for recommendations, consider options, report, track their progress on health goals that they set. Um, and I gave it a set of parameters, right? Each of the 8 parts of the story must contain either visual or interactive element, um, header or title, body content explaining the story in a clear, succinct manner. And basically the way I use this is I was working with a couple other people. And so imagine, we're sitting in front of a TV and we're trying to develop together a prompt and set, a good amount of parameters for not just the concepts themselves, but like how to approach generating them and like working it out. Uh, So we're all sitting here in front of this TV and we're like, oh, what else should we add? Well, it should have, a visual or interactive element, right? And we decided, yeah, it should probably, um, let's have this thing generate an image by the end of this wild pipeline. So we're all like working together and talking about like about the process of how we get to um, the concepts that we're going to share with this client. Um, I've changed the content here, but in this demo, it's like a health sort of system management app. And what we did was we took it and we fed it to a bunch of LLMs just to see what would happen, right? So we fed it to, this is back in Gemini 1.5 Flash, and then we fed it to ChatGPT and Claude and DeepSeek, and we kind of want to just compare what we got out of each LLM. And um, so we asked it to spit out an outline. And from that outline, uh, kind of like what you were getting at before, it's like, well, can we ask it to format it a certain way? So I laid out a set of instructions that said, okay, just copy only the page one selection. So basically splitting them up into 8 pages, this story that we're trying to tell. So it did so. It sort of formatted them into each individual pages. And then after that, I gave it an instruction to do visual analysis. Just kind of describe the visual based on whatever it is here. Um, so it's sort of describing now a visual of its own output. And there we go. It sort of generated this like 8 illustrated story kind of, or at least the graphics for each piece of the story. And I think this is kind of one of those things I was mentioning is in a chat bot interface, there's no way you can get this much insight into what is happening or like what it is outputting, especially with these like deep thinking features. Um, right now it does a pretty good job, right? Like there's like drop down menus if you want to get more in-depth detail for things, but I think this is so much more and visually just clear of like the pipeline. Like, okay, we're taking this input, we are asking it to process it in this way, and then we are specifying an output. We get to really get that level of insight that we wouldn't otherwise. And so we took these illustrations and they're not great at their face, but it did sort of generate discussion amongst ourselves about how we could approach telling the story that it's kind of generating. And another thing you could do is like, so it generates a story, right? But you could just edit this thing. You're like, yeah, I don't agree with this. Like this part's dumb, or like, this isn't necessary, or this is too much. So as a team, if you're in a room together, you're in this whiteboard environment, you could just like edit it and play with the parameters, tinker, and yeah, just get some really awesome results. Yeah, it was a really long-winded answer, but I think
So if you just go with the example you just said, you look at one of the stories and you decide that some part of it is dumb and
Mhm.
you delete it, then can you rerun from that point and get it to regenerate the visualization of that particular story?
Yeah, let's see. Primary visual documentation. Okay. Depiction of Arya's avatar. Established technological. Okay. Let's just say like, I guess it doesn't really matter. Let's just say like, oh, we don't agree with this. Let's get rid of it. Um, and then for whatever reason, we're like, add a pizza. Uh, so I could click play from here at this point in the process. It'll send in the image and it'll just generate a new image. Um, so I don't know. Did it generate a pizza? Oh, that's disappointing. But the idea is there, right? Like, and you kind of have to decide as a team, how exactly you're going to use this. But I think like tinkering with this stuff is is pretty awesome.
It came to mind with the first thing you showed, kind of reminded me of like a whiteboard challenge that like a team might give to somebody, right? And then, but looking at this and the way you were describing it, this seems like a great way to like visualize the process for later so that you can capture it, like everything you did. And
Mhm.
that to me, it seems also like, because I mean, I capture a lot of things from the chats, right? And put it into Google Drive, but it's really hard to like see it, like everything that you did. So the visualization is really interesting here.
Right. Yeah. And if you are running a workshop and maybe someone has an idea or an input, um, yeah, it's really easy to quickly, draft something up, uh, what that might look like on the spot. Uh, or maybe if it generates something that doesn't align with what you're thinking, it's like, oh, okay, well, maybe we need to rethink that. And that's really valuable too, right? It's just like, it's a way to collaborate with others and sort of funnel down what you're actually trying to communicate and get at.
Mm, mm. Well, I can tell that you really like this tool. Have you experimented with any others, maybe the ones you didn't like or ones that maybe you saw?
Mm. Um, I didn't like. I I got access to Google VO, um, which I unfortunately can't use on this computer. Oh, this is another thing. I don't know if I was actually really worried this wouldn't work because consulting work and security issues. For some reason this bypasses it. I don't know what that says. Uh, but I'm not able to use any other AI tools. But if you're in a pinch and happen to be working enterprise, like for some reason, this may or may not be able to sneak by those restrictions. Uh, so it does save me a pinch quite a few times.
Okay, so that's interesting because you're working in an enterprise environment. So
Mhm.
you have to, there's like rules around like AI as expected. So
Yeah.
this one works in your environment, but some
Hmm.
others you haven't been able to use.
Yeah. And it's not to say like I'm, just spilling out client details or anything. I think that's kind of our point, and we're in talks of like sort of relieving some of these restrictions because how are you supposed to get ahead in the world of AI if you can't even use some of the tools? I think that's a common, yeah, like tech enterprise problem that people are running into. It's like only Copilot is kosher. It's like, well, okay, but it's kind of limiting. Um, it's been an interesting set of
What has been your experience with Copilot? Because I've heard it's okay, but then I've also heard it's amazing. So,
Yeah, I think it depends on the work, right? I think like our parent company, they are in a different sort of field of consultancy. For them, it works, right? It's more traditional consultancy. It's less, um, I don't know, like creative, uh, less in the creative customer space, I guess. So for their clientele, it probably works perfectly well just to use Copilot. But for me at Frog, it's like we're trying to use this new wealth of technology and tools, try and serve customers better. How do you do that if you don't know what they do or how they work, what the limitations are, right? Um, so I end up having to either use my personal computer sometimes to figure this stuff out, or uh, yeah, yeah, it's been an interesting, I don't know, set of discussions going on regarding like security and things. Uh,
so do you find that you've been pretty limited in the tools that you've been able to try as a result?
I don't think, no. Uh, well, In a way, yeah. I think like because the AI tools that I'm sort of restricted to are the ones in Figma and what is it like Microsoft Azure or something like that. And when it comes to like content generation, uh like I think it's been okay like for written things. Um but when it comes to like what you're trying to sell to a client in terms of like how to meet their needs with these new AI tools, it's hard when, you know, you have them meet you here at the office and then you can't just be like, but look at this and like the potential of this tool, right? It's like uh yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle in that sense.
Mhm. Interesting. Um, what else have you used AI for in your, looks like I'm seeing a lot of like initial like brainstorming and like concept generation. What else have you used it for?
Yeah. These are actually some of the like just demos that they have are pretty cool. Um, so to answer your question, sorry, on my own personal time, like I recently got like a Raspberry Pi, like a little mini computer, and I have not programmed in Python in years, like since college. Um, and so I just fed it to Google AI Studio. I was like, generate uh um like a Space Invaders clone just to run on this like little tiny screen I hooked up to it. I just wanted to see if it worked. And yeah, it did it. It did like game states and it even gave instructions on like how to implement. It's like, well, first this test this section of code, see if this works, and then afterwards, you know, add in this section of code. Um, yeah, I would show you, but I can't. uh, so yeah, my own personal time, like um, programming Python, building websites. Um, yeah, Midjourney I use quite a bit, all sorts of things. Okay, SpaceX launch result. So I didn't make this. This is one of TL Draw's sort of like templated like demos that you could try out. So retro website, show the patch as an image, 64 pixel square inline with the header. The site should display information for each launch in a table with links in an ordered list below. So it can generate tables. I wonder if I just didn't specify enough or something. Um, and it seems like we're getting an API source from SpaceX data. Wow, their APIs just open like that. That's kind of wild. Okay. Um, it is going to take that information, answer the question, was the launch a success? If yes, if yes, it's going to draw a smiley face. If no, it's going to draw a frowny face. Okay, let's try this. So, okay, it's taking the data from the API, building a website for it. The last launch, I guess, was a success because it gave a smiley face. And the last launch was named Crew 5. It took place, I guess, according to this API. Um, oh, I guess we didn't specify it was the last launch. What the Interesting. Hmm. All right. Well, I gave that. Flight number 187, Crew 5 from October. True. Success. Oh, it gives like related links. Kind of cool. Yeah. You know, I didn't realize this is basically just a mini browser here, essentially. I didn't even know if it would do that. That's kind of neat.
So it seems like prompting is a really important thing in here, just like it would be in any of the other AI tools.
Yeah. And I think in this case though, it's a lot easier to tinker with, right? It's just um you can much more easily visually see like, okay, maybe we need to edit this part of the prompt and let's just try and see what it gives out. It's not this like linear sort of chat interface. It's much more flexible.
Do you find, because sometimes like ChatGPT will get confused like
Mm.
after a long period of time. Have you run into that with this tool? Like where it gets confused after a long time?
Um, After a long time, do you mean like if there's like too much context for it to handle?
Yeah, like too much context or you've changed it a whole lot.
Yeah, I'm not sure if if TL Draw has that problem necessarily because it is taking it piece by piece, right? Um, in my case, well, I think the biggest thing that I've done is the thing that I just showed you. This like 8 story uh thing. When I did this originally, it did spit out everything all the way through. Um, but I can imagine, I don't know, if I had like if this pipeline were to go like 30 more instructions or something like that, like I can see it, kind of forgetting some things or forgetting some details. I mean, it even forgot my gosh dang pizza. So, uh,
I have
yeah,
a question. That's
sure.
okay. And I was eating, so I'm sorry. It was really crunchy bread too, so I didn't want to be that person. But um, so how, if you have so many iterations, right? How easy is it to go to iter back to iteration 6, um, a past query?
You mean like which part of the process to sort of start from,
But
or
do you have like a history log when you can see your past prompts or changes?
um, I don't believe so. No. Yeah, I mean it functions more like yeah, like it's a whiteboard environment. I don't know if there's like undo states or whatever, but uh that's a good point. Yeah, it doesn't really save it as a chat log. I think like if I was in an environment where it's like, okay, wait, we might need to save that. Like we'll just kind of, pull this aside and save it for later or something. Yeah, that's a good call out.
Seems like something to request in the roadmap,
Yeah.
you know. Animita had a question in the chat. Can it generate images or concepts of IoT devices as product design concepts with screens from prompts, or can it assist in developing wireframe concepts from prompts?
Yeah, let's try it. Well, okay. Let's try drawing something right now.
Let's do a pizza website.
Pizza. I'm
You must be hungry.
kind of hungry. Oh God. I normally have a handheld mouse. I'm using my trackpad. Um, then let's say there's like a order now. Or just order button. And there's like a pizza drawing. And then like, I don't know, a menu in the upper hand corner. Something real simple. Let's see if it'll take this. Let's give this an instruction to make this into a responsive website where I can order pizza, add in sample written placeholder written and image content. See how well it does this. I'm actually curious myself. Oop. This file might be getting big. Oh, I need to draw an arrow maybe. Hopefully this works. I wonder if I have to set this up in any particular way or if it will just know. Oh yeah, and if you want a greater, deeper insight, you can click this like question mark button to sort of see its thought process. And when I was using this initially and this feature was here, none of the chatbots had that feature yet of offering that level of context. Oh my God. Pizza Paradise. It's got a menu. Placeholder content. This image of pepperoni. Uh, Checkout.
And I imagine if you spent like some more time thinking about the prompt, it would be a very different type look, right?
Yeah.
You
And so
know,
how this might go is like, okay, we start out with this, and then you're like, okay, wait, we as a team obviously need to make more considerations. And so like together you can sort of, yeah, write, in real time, more things for it to consider and then just get some visual glimpse of it. Yeah, it's real neat. Um,
you and I were talking before everybody joined that I've learned that sometimes it's helpful to use like some of these tools to ask it to help you to write the prompt. And so like you could have another AI tool help you craft the prompt that you put into this tool. I mean, because I'm doing that right now with UX Pilot because I've been using that to generate wireframes and hi-fis to start from. And so that's something else you could do, Animita, is like have AI help you write the prompt that you want.
Yeah, I have tried that, I think, for Adobe Firefly, because I was trying to generate some images, but it could not do like as expected. So I tried to do that edit it with ChatGPT so that like it would like give me a prompt that would work, or kind of like help it to get my ideas clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it does work really well, actually.
yeah. Do you mean to say like you'll try, like you'll give it a prompt,
Yeah,
you'll kind of see like, oh wait, I didn't think about this, or like I could have written this better, and it'll help you in that way, or
exactly. So if I give a prompt to Firefly or any other like AI softwares that it's not getting, like maybe I'm not being able to like give it a prompt clearly, my idea clearly. So I try to use ChatGPT to kind of like make it like generate a prompt, like, or edit it as a prompt, so that it would like make it more clear, make the whole idea clear, and then just copy and try that with Firefly. Sometimes it does get my ideas, but I would say kind of like a lot of trial and errors. So yeah, sometimes it helps, sometimes kind of like does not work. But this one is, I really like this TLD draw, by the way. It's impressive. I mean, I can see that it's already produced a website, like a base demo. It's a base, so it's a good base. You can work with it or work on it. So with such a limited prompt, it's really good.
yeah. And even when it's not, it's like, I don't know, I still think there's still a long way to go, clearly. I'm keeping my eyes on this.
I'm also wondering, can it be used for like a product design or like a concept wise? So I'm trying to work on an app with an IoT device
Mhm.
for healthcare, but the thing is I'm having trouble to like picture the device. I have concept, but I do not have, like, I haven't found anything that was like successfully able to give me a good like closer concept picture that like I'm trying to, I would say, like imagine, or my what I picture as.
Mhm.
So it's not really like close to my concept. So I'm wondering if it can use as a product design idea.
Yeah, I'm sure. Let's see. So you have an idea, you have a concept, and you kind of want to,
Mhm.
it hasn't really been fleshed out, or it's been difficult to visualize because there's not really anything quite like it. Is that
Exactly,
okay?
exactly.
Yeah, I could totally see it being like, generate an image of an IoT device in healthcare. Um, or, you could even start with like, uh, me, 10 or yeah, 10 potential unique new feature. Oh,
Yeah, with portability.
yeah. New features of an IoT device, of a portable IoT device in healthcare. And then from there, so it'll list that out and see what happens. And then, I don't know, maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't, but you could take this and then, let's see, what did I give you? AI-powered diagnostic assistant integrates AI real-time patient data. Cool. And then maybe you're like, okay, well, what does that look like? You could, oops, grab this. Let's see if it generates an image of what this thing looks like. Um, or yeah, any sort of number of all right. Um, I
There
think
may be limits.
there may be
Yeah,
one.
that is what sort of Firefly is also producing. Yeah.
Right.
It's a, but I really like it. It's a working process, right? So
Thanks. Um, I actually think like that's where I found most of the benefits is when it generates something you don't want. Because then like as a group of people, then you realize, okay, well, how do we um yeah, like what aren't we considering? And then we'll be able to sort of work that out. But yeah.
Well, does anyone have any final questions? Because we've hit 7:30.
They-
Burning questions about AI tools for UX?
I just want to follow up for Anamita if I can, because I can't really get into it, but my company is working on a bunch of Firefly exploration. And we're kind of going down the pathway that she's going with trying to generate the images. Just want to give a general idea of like, I think most of these tools, especially as they keep getting better, it's great to think that they can churn out these ideas, but that's one of the good things for us as we prototype. Think of this more as assistive. So if you have a specific thing that you're trying to do, just be prepared to prompt hours, some to just like a couple hours to just get a bunch of things out there. And as Ollie was talking about beforehand, ruling out what you don't want. I found in our experiments, I wish I could go more into it. I apologize. But I found that that's been more of a tool to help us as opposed to trying to ideate that, I don't want to say that perfect thing, but that thing that's close because it just comes down to the data sets. And since most of these data sets are still taking such a large amount of data and making unique creations from each thing, it's kind of an exercise in utility to try to pare it down to exactly that thing. I find that it's mostly kind of hunt and peck of like what looks really nice or what's working in that prompt and expanding on it from there. And you find unique things through these tools that help you kind of, pare down what you might want to explore later. I hope that makes sense. I'm sorry
Yeah.
if it doesn't.
No, I think that's more or less the perspective I share too, Tony. It's like, I think a lot of companies will say this is like, oh, we really like, lower level junior designers because they ask the stupid questions. They ask the dumb questions.
Right.
In a way, the AI bots, well, they give out the stupid answers. It's like, oh yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
But that's helpful because that's an important part of the process that I think sometimes, especially under the gun or working on a project, especially if you have an idea in mind. And I can only speak for me, but just being around for a while in this industry, like sometimes you don't want to get in a tunnel vision that will kill you, but sometimes you can get very focused on an outcome that maybe you do need to ask those stupid questions because it will lead you to retrain how you're looking at the project, whether it be an MVP or just, a feature. It will help reattune your brain. I think we've all been in that spot where we're working on one thing and you have a lot of unique ideas, but when you really kind of break down or separate yourself from the work for a while and you come back, you can see that the team is kind of circling a pattern that wasn't apparent at that time. And I think these tools are good with getting multiple things out and dumb things so that it can kind of help retrain your brain faster to really pare down where you need to go.
Yeah.
And they're super invaluable for that at the moment, except for Firefly. Firefly, I have a love-hate thing with because those generations they're rough. But I could see it improving. But when you have things like DaVinci and Midjourney, like it's got ways to go.
Well, thank you all so much for coming, and let's all give Ollie a big thank you and round of applause for showing us the AI tool that you're liking so much and talking with us about how it goes. I really appreciate your taking the time tonight to go through it with us. If we have other questions, can we follow up with you? Is that cool?
Yeah. Oh wait, I forgot this part. You can follow my link. I'll put it in the chat.
Sounds good.
Yeah. No, thanks for having
Awesome.
me.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, well, I'm going to stop the recording here and then wish you all a good night.
Good night, y'all.
Thank you.